So the first class I want to talk about is going to be the Paladin, because I feel like this is the one that a lot of people have the most hype around and excitement about, because it has some of the most what you'd expect changes, and a lot of people are happy. Now, we are going to be level 25, and all of these are going to be available right at level 25. So here are just the names of them. Chest, we have Seal Martyrdom, Divine Storm, Horn of Lordon, and Aegis. Gloves, we have Beacon of Light, Crusader Strike, and Hand of Reckoning. Legs, we have Divine Sacrifice, Inspirational Exemplar, sorry, Avenger Shield, Exorcist, or Rebuke. So let's take a minute and let's talk about all of these. So going into the chest slot, the first thing we have here is Seal Martyrdom. It fills your Holy Spirit for 30 seconds, causing each of your melee attacks to deal 30% weapon damage up to 3 nearby targets. So basically a seal that does cleave. Basically, it's just a cleave seal. But you use health equal to 10% of the damage inflicted. While this seal is active, your party members within 40 yards gain mana equal to 2% of the damage you take. So I don't know if this is damage in general or just damage from your damage inflicted, right? So I don't know. But regardless, this seems like a nice little mana battery talent. Seems like the main purpose of it. I can see running a paladin that is basically just a mana battery, or even just having, I could potentially, I'm not saying it's going to be, I could potentially see using this on a prop build as an off tank, using this with your 2H, and basically just when you're not tanking and just going and having a nice little mana battery going. Basically, you're probably going to keep the paladin in the spell caster group to give passive mana to the healer and spellcasters, but we'll see. Again, it doesn't seem like a lot of mana gen, but it might actually be at low levels, so we'll see. Next up is Divine Storm. Exactly what you expect. All an instant weapon attack that causes 110% of weapon damage up to 4 enemies within 8 yards. The Divine Storm heals up to 3 party or raid members, totaling 25% of the damage caused. This is going to be great. You're probably just going to go and run, Paladin with Ret Palis. Can be in any group thanks to this. They'll give a nice little healing to all those in melee, so that's pretty nice. And it looks like this is going to just be a nice it's going to make Ret Paladins come on the board. If anything, they might be really strong, but we'll talk about later. Then last here in the or one of the second to last things in the chest category, we have Horn of Lordaeron. Paladin blows the Horn of Lordaeron, which increases the total strength and agility of all party members within 30 yards by 17. Last 2 minutes with Blessing of Might. This is, I think, like the what's that thing called? Death Knight talent, I think. Basically, exclusive with Blessing of Might. So basically, I don't think this can, I believe I could be misunderstanding this, but I don't think this can be used in addition to Blessing of Might. I think it's basically a replacement. So I don't know. My honest opinion is I think this is going to be nice, but I don't think this is going to be like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's going to be good, but I don't know if it's going to be like a mandatory thing for Paladins to run, because you have to, already you're competing with Seal Martyrdom and Divine Storm. I feel like this is like, I don't want to say wasted, but it definitely feels like it should be in a different slot, because like, I don't know, it's strong, but like why would I take this over Divine Storm? Why would I take this over Seal Martyrdom? You know what I mean? Like, Martyrdom just gives my casters mana. Divine Storm gives you my extra damage. Like, all these 2 things alone just seem so much great. This seems kind of what. Aegis gives Paladins a defensive cooldown, increases your block value by 30%, and damaging melee and range attacks against you have a 10% chance to increase your block by 30%. Lasts for 10 seconds or 5 blocks. Effect not cumulative with readout. So basically, this is like separate from readout is the best way to put it. It doesn't stack on top of it, which does suck. But basically, this is just a defensive cooldown that Paladins get. Increases your block value by 30%. And damage and range attacks against you 10% chance to increase your block by 30%. So it's just a nice little 10-second little defensive you can pop to increase your block chance. This is really just almost like a Mythic Plus cooldown in a sense, where you're just going to go when you pull a big group, you're just going to pop it while you AoE stuff down. I don't really see this being taken, but we'll see. We'll go on to later. Next up is the leg slots. So these are the things that go in your leg. We just talked about chest pieces. Let's go into the leg runes. The leg runes, you have Divine Sacrifice. 30% of all damage taken by party members. By party members. I think they meant to put raid. So party and raid members within 30 yards is redirected to the paladin for 10 seconds. Damage which reduces the paladin below 20% health will break the effect and grant the paladin 10% increased damage and healing over 10 seconds. So this is something that you're probably going to put on your holy paladins and your ret paladins. I'm assuming. I could see this going on tank pallies, but we'll see. Honestly, This is nice, but honestly, the other stuff in the leg slot just seems better. But we'll go over that later. So next we have inspirational exemplar. Inspiring presence periodically dispels fear and sleep effects on party members. This is insane. This basically gives you a tremor totem. So I can see a Ret Paladin running this. I'm being dead serious. I can see a Ret Paladin running this, like some kind of Ret Paladin build where like, hey, swap to this for this fight, right? You're basically a tremor totem this fight. So I can 100% see this being taken with like I wouldn't see this on a prop paladin because you need to be in the melee group, but I can 100% see this on the on like a Ret Paladin or even a Holy Paladin, to be honest. I can see a Holy Paladin running this. You just have to put them in the melee group. But yeah, I think that this is super nice. I think this is an amazing ability. Next up, we have Avenger's Shield. Exactly what you'd expect. Bounces a Holy Shield, dealing damage, dazing, and then jumping to additional enemies. Affects 3 targets, lasts 10 seconds. This is huge. This is basically just giving prop paladins their prop build. Basically, prop paladins are now a thing. Is basically what it's doing. Not only do you get your taunt, you also get Avenger's Shield. It's crazy. It's really nice. So you have Wrath prop paladins, basically, which is kind of gross. Exorcist. Exorcism can now be cast on any target and has 100% increased critical strike chance against undead and demons. Yeah, I think this is Wrath Exorcism. I don't actually know, but this is nice. It just gives them another button to press, which is going to be nice. And then when we get to the undead and demon fights, which I think are inevitable, well, paladins will probably be even more damage. And Rebuke is interrupt. Is all that is. In this leg slot, I can see a Holy Paladin taking Inspirational Exemplar. I can see this. Basically, I feel a Holy Paladin would swap between Divine Sacrifice and Inspirational Exemplar. Prop Paladins are probably going to just take Avenger's Shield all around. Ret Paladins are most likely going to run between, honestly, all of these except for maybe Avenger's Shield. I feel like Exorcist wouldn't honestly be taking on a Ret Paladin unless you want the little bit extra damage, but I feel like you're just going to burn through mana with it, so I'd have to look at the damage on Exorcist to see if it's worth it. I think it's still castable, so I don't know. If it's not castable anymore, then probably run it, but yeah, we have that. Rebuke would probably be taken if it's an interrupt fight. Like, hey, we need you to interrupt. You'll probably swap to this one. I'm hoping we can swap through these freely throughout fights, because then being able to swap on a fight-to-fight basis is going to make a lot of these nice, because one fight you're probably going to want Exemplar, the next fight you're probably going to want Rebuke, and then maybe another fight you might want Exorcist. So I really hope we're able to swap between these like freely. Next up is the glove slot, the last slot we have here. And here we have Beacon of Light. Target becomes a beacon of light to all party and raid members within 6 yards. Any heals you cast on this party or on party or raid members will also heal the beacon for 100% of the amount healed. Only one target can be put as a beacon of light at a time. Last 1 minute. Basically just, this is just like a Holy Paladin CD. So you're basically just going to use this during like heavy damage phase. You pop this on the tank and then you start spot healing during a heavy healing phase. Allows the tank, and probably even off tank, you're most likely going to put it on the tank, and then you'll probably start healing the off tank. Then they both just get healed for that one period of time. If there's a lot of damage going out, like for example, like during the Tortoise's shell cracking, when you know that's going to happen, pop Beacon of Light right before it happens. Shell cracks, everyone gets lowered by like 50s, 60% HP. Beacon of Light is on the tank. You just start healing other people, and the tank's going to get healed up. So there's that. Crusader Strike, instant strike that causes 75% weapon damage and regenerates 2% mana. Ret Paladins are now a thing. Hand of Reckoning. Taunts the target back to you. Has no effect if the target's already attacking you. So it's just a taunt. When you know this ability, the threat bonus from Righteous Fury is increased to 80%. I misread this the first time and thought it said buy, but it's 2. And Righteous Fury causes you to gain mana when healed by others by 25% of the amount healed. Additionally, while Righteous Fury is active, damage you take below 35% health is reduced by 20%. Righteous Fury will remain active until canceled. This basically turns prop paladins into a very strong and viable tank. Now, here's my thoughts on prop paladins as a whole, because I do want to talk about it. As a whole, or not prop paladins, just paladins in general. So first things first, Holy Paladin is still going to be strong. Holy Paladins were already strong, but I feel like they're going to stay somewhat strong. but not insanely strong. I actually feel like Holy Paladins are going to fall off compared to other healers, in my opinion. I think they're still going to be a solid tank healer. And one of the reasons why I think Holy Paladins are still going to want to be taken is because of the utility they can bring. Put them in the melee group, give them Horn of Lordaeron, right? Put them in the melee group, give them Divine Sacrifice, Inspirational Exemplar, or even a Rebuke, right? Have them in melee range, have them be an Interrupt, right? Have them be, or more likely, have them be a Tremor Totem. Give them Divine Sacrifice on certain fight mechanics, maybe. I'm just spitballing here. Have them do that. Glove Slot, give them Beacon of Light. Boom. I mean, I can just see Holy Paladins they bring a lot of utility, so it's not like they're not going to be needed and not going to be wanted. I mean, just the Inspirational Exemplar alone on a Holy Paladin just seems nice. In addition to that, adding a Horn of Lordaeron CD seems kind of nice. Have them put Horn of Lordaeron on CD. They're going to become a utility healer. Honestly, they're not even going to be there for the healing. I think they're actually going to become a utility healer, which is fine. At the later levels, they'll probably become strong. But these early levels, I feel like they're going to be like okay. Like 25, I feel like they're just going to be okay and mainly there for the utility. In terms of Ret Paladins, honestly, Ret Paladins seem like they're going to be kind of broken. I'm going to be completely honest. I think they're going to be the best melee DPS at 25. They already, so for anyone who doesn't know, at these lower levels, Ret Paladins are already strong. Especially if you get a good weapon, Ret Paladins are already strong. Now, add into the addition if you have Crusader Strike, then you get Divine Storm. Like, those two things alone make you really strong. And then this is basically just a utility slot for yourself and what you want. Do you want Exorcist for maybe another ability to press? Take that. You need Interrupt? Take Rebuke. You don't need either of these things. Well, then you're going to get Inspirational Exemplar or Divine Sacrifice, right? I mean, it's overall, Ret Paladins are going to be huge. I would not be surprised if they are the top DPS. I would be genuinely shocked if they're not the top DPS. I think they're going to be huge. Next up is Prot Paladin. And this is where I think things are going to get a little kind of, we have to see how the fights play out. Because the biggest thing here that Prot Paladins get is going to be their, it's Hand of Reckoning. But let's look at the other stuff they take. So this category is really all fight dependent. Aegis is kind of something it's just like it's a CD. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. You know what I mean? Like, it's good, but it's not amazing. Like, I don't see this worth taking over like Divine Storm or Seal Martyrdom. Like, I can see Seal Martyrdom being taken because it allows you to be healed more often, which gives you more mana, and it also allows you to give you a nice little mana battery on other people. So I think as a Prot Paladin, you're probably going to take Seal Martyrdom, honestly. I don't see Divine Storm. I could see taken if you don't really care about your mana or being a mana battery, maybe want to do a little bit more damage. I can see Divine Storm being taken, but realistically, I think you're gonna go Seal Martyrdom for those cleave fights and even just for single target fights. Honestly, just because you become a mana battery. So I feel like Seal Martyrdom is gonna be what Prot Paladins are gonna run, just because of the mana battery for other people. Honestly, and then if you have a fight where you really want Aegis, then you can take Aegis. Or if it's a really heavy trash focused, heavy trash melee focused, scenario where there's a whole lot of enemies, then you'll probably take Aegis on a fight to fight basis. But honestly, it doesn't feel like a strong enough ability. It's strong, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not strong, but it doesn't feel like it's a strong enough cooldown. It really depends how often it can be used. If this is on par with, and I think the biggest thing here is I need to see how long it lasts, because if this is a cooldown like basically shield block where you use it like shield block, like a warrior does, then Prot Paladins are fucking busted. I'm gonna be honest, and Prot Paladins are gonna be the new main tank. I'm just gonna kind of say it outright. But if it's not, and it's like a cooldown, then yeah, honestly, then you're probably not gonna take Aegis. Then you're probably not gonna take it. Then Prot Paladins probably aren't necessarily gonna be main tanks. Maybe early on, yes, but like as we get to the later levels, I just don't see it happening. Even honestly, even in the first raid, I can't see it happening, because the final boss, even on normal Black Fathom Deeps, freaking slaps. And while I do think Aegis is going to be nice on there, I just really feel like it's going to be I think it's really going to depend on gearing and a lot of stuff. I feel like, I don't want to preface by saying, I think my opinion is I feel like every tank is going to be able to tank the first raid. I don't think it's going to matter which main tank you are, but I think the meta tank, I don't think is going to be prop paladin for main tank. I think they're going to be the off tank because they still have their crazy AoE threat. And Aegis, while it's good, the fact that you only have a chance to increase your block by 30% is the big thing. For everyone's saying, oh, but you get 30% increased block chance, that makes you uncrushable. Yeah, but you have a 10% chance for that to happen. So in the 10 seconds that this is going, realistically, you might have one proc of this. Like, what? I just don't see it. Unless this is a passive and not a cooldown. If this is a passive, then this is busted prop paladin main tank all the way. But if it's a cooldown like I think it is, then 10 seconds? That's not good. So I don't know. I'd have to see it. But if it's a cooldown, then Aegis is being taken prop paladin's main tank, right? I'm just gonna say it. But if this is an ability you press, then I just don't see it. I think they're going to be great off tanks regardless, because Avenger Shield is huge for pulling. It's huge. And then Hand of Reckoning is amazing because you get you now have 80% threat, which is great. And you get your mana back when you take damage. So you're taking heavy amounts of... It's like TBC, where you just... Really, Paladins are just TBC Paladins, but they have their little thing here. Actually, they're just TBC Paladins. Let's just say it as is. They're just TBC Paladins. They're going to be great off tanks. Legitimately. I think these Paladins are amazing off tanks. And I think they're going to be the best. I think they're going to be the go-to off tank, like second tank in every BFD run. I think every BFD run is probably going to have a Paladin off tank. I can see them being main tanks, but I don't think they're going to be the boss tank. I think they're going to be the off tank. Personally, that's what I think. But now we're going to move away from Paladin. Let's go and talk about the Shaman Rune Engraving. I'm going to try to move through these a little quicker because I spent 15 minutes on that one. Let's talk about Shaman. Shaman, fucking crazy. Right off the bat, we get dual specialization. This makes me hate that I am not going to be on Horde side. This alone makes me wish I was Horde side, but all my friends want to play Alliance, so we're playing fucking Alliance. But Shaman, I would play Shaman. I would play Enhancement Shaman all the way, just from this one. We get dual specialization on chest piece, or you can get Healing Rain. Fucking amazing. Shaman Healing is my favorite healer. Or you can get Overload. Grants you against your Bolt Lightning, Chain Healing, Healing Wave, and Lava Burst spells a 30% chance, a 33% chance to cast a second similar spell the same target. Like, what the fuck? Like, honestly, as a healer, I'm gonna be real and say, I think Overload is probably going to be your go-to thing. I don't think you're going to take Healing Rain. I think Healing Rain would only be taken on like a specific fight where, like, for example, I would say you'd only take Healing Rain on the turtle boss, where you know when everyone's going to get hit and you know when it needs to be done. It's crazy. Dual specialization. I don't need to go into this. It's dual specialization. What do you expect? Overload's huge, honestly. Overload's huge. Elemental might be super strong. They just have the main reason Elemental Shaman isn't good in Classic is actually because of mana problems, not anything else. If they had proper mana, they'd probably be pretty strong. Not like amazing, but they'd be a solid class. But they don't. They have mana issues. Next up is Shield Mastery. Shaman tanks. Yeah, each time you block, you generate mana equal to 4% of your maximum mana, and armor equal to 30% of your armor shield value. Stack them to 5 times. You always gain 10% increased chance to block and 15% increased block value. Nice. So Shaman tank is now a thing. Gloves. We have Lava Burst. Troll Molten Lava dealing damage. If your Flame Shock is on the target, Lava Burst will automatically crit. Yay, we get Lava Burst now, which is just a nice little ability. So there you go. We get Lava Lash. Charge your offhand with Lava Lash, instantly doing 100% damage. Damage increase 20% of your offhand. Fucking there you go. Molten Blast. Blast enemies in a cone in front of you. Oh, nice little fire. Oh, so you can be a Flame Shaman or a Lightning Shaman. That's pretty nice. So cool. Generate time amount of threat. Oh, no, this is the tank ability. Okay, so this is the tank. Sorry. And then Water. The cast is surrounded by 3 globes. 1% of mana for 5 seconds, and a spell or range ability. 100% cast mana. This one says, I'm guessing this is mostly for healers, but I can see elementals running this instead of Lava Burst just because of the mana. But probably early on, everyone's going to run Lava Burst, high damage, shorter fights. Legs, Ancestral Guidance. For the next 10 seconds, 25% of their damage converted to healing up to 3 party members, and 100% of your healing is converted to damage to your most Flame Shock target. This is actually amazing for healers. This is going to turn Shamans into an atonement healer, basically. Pop this CD. basically as often as you can, and just during like a heavy, like for example, during, again, I hate using the turtle, but the turtle in BFT is a perfect example. Everyone gets below HP. You pop this cooldown, then you go and you just heal everybody up. 100% of the healing I just did is now converted into damage to your most flame shock target. So yeah, it's just as simple as that. So whoever I have on flame shock, which would be the turtle, take a bunch of damage, really good. So I can see a healer running this just for shits and gigs. And on the converse side, I can see elementals running this just to kind of go and provide extra damage, or just to go and provide extra healing, or to go and like help top people off and still provide damage. So it's really kind of like I can see both sides of it is, but I think this is mostly going to be a situational healer talent. I think elementals are going to run this 100% because it's passive healing on a cooldown, but I think realistically it's most likely going to be a situational healer talent. Earth Shield, or if like you're running two shamans, two shaman heals, you'll have one take this. Earth Shield protects the target with Earth Shield, reducing casting time or channel time when lost by 30%, causing attacks to heal the target for 100. This effect can only occur once every few seconds. 3 charges. Earth Shield Earth Shield is going to be amazing. Like, you know, Earth Shield is going to be huge. Shamanistic Rage reduces all damage you take by 20%. You generate mana every 15 seconds. Mana regenerated per second is equal to 50% of your attack power, 30% battle power, and 6% of your healing power, whichever value is greater. Yeah, so it's just a mana regen ability. I feel like a lot of shamans will probably take this. I feel like enhancement is 100% taking this. I can see elementals running this because they need the mana. It kind of is. I think generally elementals and enhances are going to take this. Elementals I can see taking this one. We'll go over all that in a second though. Way of the Earth's raw operator weapon is active on your main hand. 1% increased threat, 30% increased health, 10% reduced damage, and 6% reduced chance to get critical strike by hit by melee attacks. And Earth Shock taunts the target back to you and has a separate cooldown from other shock spells, but its range is reduced to melee range. Let's talk about it. Shaman tanking, 100% a thing. They have a great kit for it. I think they're going to be huge. I don't think they're going to be top tier GG no Re, but I think they're going to be a nice little competitive tank. I think it's going to be exactly kind of what we'd expect. I think all tanks are going to be valued. I think all tanks are going to be an option. I think all tanks are going to be competitive, and all tanks are going to be able to clear most of the content. BFD, I can see every tank doing it. Shaman, I could see a little bit more being played because of the totems. I'll be honest, and especially because you're on Horde side, I can see shaman, like a tank shaman being taken just to have a shaman. I can see that. I'll be honest, but I think tank shamans are going to be huge. They are nice. Honestly, tank shamans are nice. I don't see them being the best healer or best tank, sorry, but I can see them being a good tank. Who knows? They might be the best, but I think they're going to be better at the probably lower stages. Or not lower, but kind of like the lower to mid stages of tanking, like, you know, like maybe past BFD, they'll probably be a little good, but I think like at end game stuff, like if we ever get to 60 and we start doing 60 raids, like Karazhan, Crypts, Emerald Dream, stuff like that, I can see shamans falling off just because of the fact that stuff's going to be hitting hard and you're probably going to want a lot of armor. So I feel like plate or heavy armor classes are going to be better, and you are a male class. Also, itemization matters, and it looks like there is some male itemization going on later. So hopefully. So way the earth. Next up is enhancement and elemental. Enhancement's going to be huge. I think enhancement's going to be a very good melee DPS. I think they're going to be a very nice polar opposite of the of Ret Paladins, there you go. Because conversely, on Horde side, 2H Warrior is probably going to be a thing on Horde side, more of a thing on Horde side. So you're going to go dual wield there, and then on Alliance side, you're probably going to go more dual wield warriors, and then you're going to have Ret Paladins going 2H. So I feel like this is actually really nice. I'll be completely honest. I feel like it's going to be a really solid thing. I'm reading all of these. Like, I finished reading Paladin. I was really eager to play Paladin. I'm reading Shaman. Now I'm really eager to play Shaman. Like, I want to play all these classes, bro. This shit just looks so nice. And so there's that. Now the legs, going into enhancement, I can see being very strong. Honestly, Shamanistic Rage gives them their mana back. Combine this with Lava Lash, you get a nice damage dealing ability early on. It's gonna be great. You get dual wield specialization, which is gonna be huge. Dual wield some nice maces, or axes. Go orc, get axe specialization, or even go troll and get the haste buff. Both of those are gonna be huge. I think orcs are gonna be better long term at max level, but at lower levels, I feel like trolls are gonna be better for enhance. Enhance is just gonna be huge all around. Tank shamans are 100% going to go Torrens because of the HP buff. Actually, I think tank shamans are going to be not mandatory, but you're going to want to go Torn for the HP buff. But probably Orc for weapon specialization, maybe. We'll see. Honestly, who knows? And then lastly is, thirdly is Elemental Shaman. Elementals look great. Overload is huge. I'm going to be honest. Your Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning have a chance to go and do a similar effect, so that's going to be great. So if you're AoE pack, Chain Lightning go, does it again, boom. Really good. Going to be really awesome. Sorry, Lava Burst conversely kind of goes tie and tie with that. Your Lava Strike going to be great for single target. It's a nice little cooldown. Overall nice. Your leg slot, you're going to go Shamanistic Rage. Let's be real here because you need the mana gen. This is actually really great. It gives you a nice little mana potion cooldown, mana cooldown. Going to be nice, honestly. I can see elementals being taken. I can see them being solid, especially at these lower levels. Honestly, elemental shamans are probably going to be a really good caster DPS. You're probably going to run, this is great because you're probably going to run a lot of shamans because so many people are going to want to play them. So that's actually really good. Next up is, and lastly, is going to be the Restoration Shaman, Healer Shaman, which is going to be amazing. Earth Shield is already a really good just tank CD. Pop that on your tank. Fucking amazing, right? Passive healing on them. It's like almost like a hot that doesn't overheal, not that doesn't overheal, but only heals when they get damaged. It's awesome. It's great. Water Shield gives you nice little passive mana regeneration, so you get your nice little mana coming in. So it's a nice little, basically, Paladin, Pally buff. It's a Paladin Blessing of Wisdom, but you get it on yourself. Really nice. Really, really nice. Honestly, amazing. And then finally, you can either get Healing Rain or Overload. I can see Overload being taken more often than not. Healing Rain is nice when you know the fight's going to need a lot of AoE healing. So, and I hate to harp on it for like a fifth time, but again, the turtle boss in BFD, when the shell breaks, probably going to have a Healing Rain. But outside of that and just general trash runs, general dungeon runs, I can see Overload being a little bit better because when the tank takes a lot of damage, you pop a chain heal or you pop a healing wave, 33% chance, it pops. It's a nice little RNG chance. You get a double heal, double chain heal, double healing wave. I can see Overload being taken more often than not. I feel like for Elemental and Resto, you're probably going to go Overload. And then for, sorry, I lost my train of thought. And then if you has like a predictable fight like the turtle, you're probably gonna go Healing Rain. So that's that. Overall, I think shamans are gonna be in a very good place. Probably very popular. Probably gonna have honestly a bunch of people wanting to play all the specs. Enhancements probably gonna have a resurgence just because of the fact that you can probably roll tank or DPS, so that's going to be good. It's going to be like, honestly, they're probably going to be the new Fury Warriors. So let's be here. I can actually see a Fury prop build going with this. Go dual wield specialization. I'm not even kidding you. A Fury, a dual wield. I already know. New Fury prop build. Dual wield specialization shaman, right? Roll down here. Don't even take this. Just take dual wield specialization shaman. Fuck this shit. You don't need this. Honestly, I say that, but for like trash runs, dual wield, like for dungeon runs, yeah, dual specialization shaman, come down here, get Molten Blast, come down here, get fucking Way of the Earth, boom, 100% increase that, 30% increase HP and 10% damage reduction and 6% chance to be critically. Yes, you lose out on 30% armor, on 30% armor, which is huge, but let's be real here. You're gonna do so much threat dual wield shaman tanking in dungeons. It's not even gonna fucking matter. So like the lower dungeons, like Dead Mines and stuff like that. I'm not Dead Mines, but like RFD, probably like Shadowfang Keep, stuff like that. Probably dual wield shaman tanking is gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a build. The only place I don't see it being a build is in raids. Honestly, that's the only thing I could see it not being a thing because you're probably going to have block for raids. I'm just gonna you're gonna need it. Non-sweats, I should say. The top tier players might not, but you're basically, if you are tanking the Hydra at the end, you're going to need shield block. For those of you who don't know, the Hydra gets a 70, the reason I'm harping on this, in regular BFD, he gets a 75% attack speed buff when he enrages. And it's a mandatory thing. It's a spell he casts randomly, or at like when he's I think it's when he's below a certain HP pool, he casts it and he gets 75% increased attack speed, but he loses like 15 damage, which, yeah, that's a good amount of damage at that level, but he's still attacking 75% faster. So having a block is going to be huge for that. So that's why I feel like if you're main tanking, you're probably going to want Shield Mastery. So that's all I'm saying. So there's that. Now moving on from Shaman, let's go and talk about the Warrior, the class that everyone's concerned with and being like, is it going to be viable? Is it not? Let's find out. I kind of got some bad news for everybody, so let's keep going. I'm going to save my thoughts and opinions on Warrior for later, though, once we're done with this. So let's talk about the runes. First things first, Blood Frenzy. Each time you deal bleed damage, you gain 3 rage. Nice for Fury. And even rage. So you get a nice little, pop rend, nice little bit of extra rage building on there, so that's good. I can see a prot potentially running this depending on the fight, right? Go and rend and just keep going. I can see this being a thing. I can see a late stage build as a Warrior running this. That's all I'm gonna say. I can see this has the potential at the later levels to be great. Early levels, we'll see, right? It's a we'll see. Flagellation, sorry. You get 25% bonus to physical damage done for 12 seconds after activating Blood Rage or Berserker Rage. Huge threat cooldown. This is going to be an amazing threat cooldown and DPS cooldown. So, as a Warrior, whether you're tank or Fury or Arms, you're probably going to want to take this during boss fights. I'm just going to kind of keep it real. This seems like a mandatory thing because as a tank, you typically activate Blood Rage right off the bat, which gives you 20% increased physical damage for 12 seconds while activated. Then you have Berserker Rage as a tank. If you bother to pop that, you can go and swap and pop that, and that's another 20. So for 24 seconds as a tank, you could have this rolling extra physical damage. So I can see this being a thing, right? I'm going to be honest. I can see this being a thing. I can see this being the tank talent. I'm just going to be completely honest. I feel like you'd swap between them, but I can see this being a thing. Next up is Raging Blow. A ferocious strike that deals 100% weapon damage, but can only be used when enraged, Berserker Rage, or Blood Rage is active. So this is kind of where things get rough. As a DPS, you'll probably want to take Raging Blow early on, because I don't think this is going to provide as much as a DPS boost as Raging Blow. But that being said, I can see a build where this runs. Warrior is definitely going to have some theory crafting having to go with it, because a lot of this stuff looks like it's going to interact better once we get runes later down the road. Warrior definitely feels like a lot of these feel like the building blocks are being put in place. So early on, Warriors might kind of get meh. Next up is Warbringer. I fucking hate that they have it in this chest slot. I don't know. I hate this so much. It's a love-hate thing, right? I kind of like it's here so I can take other stuff, but at the same time, it's like, man, Warbringer. Your charge, intercept, and intervening abilities are now usable in combat in any stance and will all removing impairing effects. This is kind of amazing, I'll be honest, but I don't see this being mandatory. I'm just going to kind of say it right out the bat. I don't see it being mandatory. Open up the fight as a Warrior, charge in, activate, charge in, waste your rage on like a Thunderclap or something, and this is as a tank Warrior. Swap to defensive stance. Then use your Blood Rage to get your physical damage done. Once that's over and you burn your rage, switch over and activate Berserker Rage. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I'm just going off the top of my head. I'd have to put it more into practice and think. But I just don't see Warbringer taking over any of these. I'm going to be honest. This is one of those things where, like, I want this. I do. But I can't see myself taking it over. This is one of those runes where you're going to use this until you get literally anything else. I'm going to be honest. That's really what it is. I'm just going to keep it real. Next up is your glove slot. Devastation. When you are in defensive stance and have a shield equipped, nice little requirement there. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm glad they did that. Because otherwise, Fury Prot would be a thing. This is their answer to Fury Prot. Honestly, that's what this is. This is their answer to Fury Prot. Sunder Armor also deals 100% weapon damage, increase by 10% per application of Sunder, already on the target. Basically, you can do up to 150% weapon damage per fucking Sunder. Basically, as a Warrior, you're going to be spamming Sunder. You're going to use Shield Slam, then spam Sunder. That's really all you're going to be doing. I'm just kidding. Early on, we're not going to have Shield Slam. So guess what? spam Sunder because it's going to do a lot of fucking damage. So that's what you're going to be doing. So the caveat is you do have to have a shield equipped. So that is a nice little caveat. Otherwise, you just go with the 2H and go wham. You just generate rage with dual wield, swap your 2H and go whack, 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 then switch back. Because that's already, you already know this would be. You'd start out, I already know how it would go. If they didn't have the shield requirement, here's how every warrior would go. Build up rage with daggers, then swap to have a macro swap to 2H, use your 2H with that to get your weapon damage done, do that over and over again, do a fuck ton of damage with your 2H, then macro back to your daggers and start going back to daggers again to generate rage, and that would just be the threat rotation. So the fact that you have to have a shield equip mitigates that bullshit fucking macro that I already know would have been, I'm going to lower my mic because it's loud, I already know would have been a thing. That's hilarious. Next up is Endless Rage. Generate 20% more rage from all damage you deal. That's actually kind of nice. Single-Minded Fury. While dual wielding, your physical damage from movement speed increased by 10%. Really nice as well. Victory Rush. Instantly attack the target, dealing 151 damage and healing you for 10% of maximum health. Only usable after 20% seconds after you kill an enemy that has experienced your armor. As a prot, you're obviously taking Devastate. As a 2H, you're taking Endless Rage. As a dual wield, you're taking Single-Minded Fury. Dual wielding is probably still going to be meta, but we'll see. Sorry, next up is Legs. Consumed by Rage. Enrages you, grants 25% melee damage boost for 12 seconds, or up to a maximum of 12 swings after you exceed 80 rage. Basically, once you get to 80 rage, I believe you have to, it is either going to be an ability you press or a passive. So you get to 80 rage, and then I'm assuming this will activate. I'm assuming this activates passively, or it's a button you have to press. So I don't know which one. So you press this, you get enraged. It's like a button you press to get enraged. I can see tanks taking this. I'm just gonna say it outright, but we'll go over that in a second. Frenzied Assault. While wielding two-handed weapons, your attack speed is increased by 20%. 2H DPS is now a thing. Furious Thunder. Thunderclap is now usable. Now increases the time between attacks by additional 6% and usable in any stance. Okay, let's talk about warriors here. Let's say the elephant in the room. Warriors have a lot of nice things, but for prot, a lot of the pieces just aren't in place yet, and it feels like stuff that can flex. Let's talk about tanking first, and then I'll move on to the other builds, because I'm sure a lot of people are worried about their prot tanking. First off, early on, Fury prot's not going to be a thing. I didn't think it wouldn't be a thing at lower levels, most likely not. I can see 2H tanking being a thing thanks to Frenzied Assault. You get Frenzied Assault. You get Endless Rage. 2H tanking will probably be a thing in dungeons. Let's be real here. It'll probably be a thing. But I still feel like for actually tanking the raid, you're probably going to want to be Sword and Board. With this, let's go and start from the bottom, sorry. Your bottom one is kind of easy. Furious Thunder, you're probably going to use on trash packs or on the final boss, right? Let's just kind of keep it real here. You're probably most likely going to have Furious Thunder on most of the time. I'm just going to kind of say it. You're most likely going to have it on most of the time. Additionally, you might also take Consumed by Rage for the extra threat, if you need the threat. If you need the extra threat, you're probably going to take Consumed by Rage because it gives you a lot of extra damage and stuff like that. But I think Furious Thunder is going to be kind of the go-to tank thing because of the fact that it allows you to use Thunderclap in defensive stance, which means it has that 130% threat boost on it. It has the extra 6% slow on it. So it's really good for tanks. I'm going to be honest, and you can even go, give me 1 second. I hate to harp on warriors for so much, but I'm a warrior player. So I can see a couple of different builds going with warriors. So one build, pretty standard. You go into here, 3 points. You can put points in here to reduce the rage off Thunderclap if you want to, or realistically, 5 points in here into Tactical Mastery. You now have 10. You now have some more points to work with. So if we wanted to, you can throw this in here. That would increase block chance. We have one more point to spend. You could spend it on something. Realistically, you'd go into this. We have 5 more points to spend. Probably going to throw into Cruelty. Boom. This is a standard. This is probably going to be a standard. I can see this being one of the tank builds, right? Get Deflection for the 5% parry. Get Tactical Mastery for the extra 20, for the extra rage so you can stance. And the main reason we're going to stance, we'll talk about later. And you want in-game management to get your rage. Go 5 points to Cruelty for that. Or alternatively, you can throw your 5 points in shield specialization to be able to block with your shield. 100% block chance, generates 1 rage, increases your chance to block shields by 5%. Either one of these I can see going. It really just depends. Mitigation versus offensive. Either one of these builds. And the reason I'm bringing this up is for what we're going to go over in the future. So, very slow, Consumed by Rage. Next up is this one. You're going Devastate. As a tank, you're going Devastate. And here's where things get iffy. The reason why we would go and get this build is this would work with Blood Frenzy. Each time you gain 3 extra rage each time you deal bleed damage. Flop into you stance into battle stance to activate Rend. You use Rend. Alternatively, if you really want to, I'm not saying to do it, you can go the extra mile and do this. 1, 2, 3. Boom. 1, 2, 3. And now we have, this requires level 20. So you basically not take this, and you do this. Level 25, you get Deep Wound. Critical strikes against the opponent. I could see this being a high threat ability, right? Because you get a lot of rage. I'm not saying we're going to do it. I'm just saying this is an option. So I'm just saying. So I could see that build being a thing. Realistically, as a tank, you're going to use Flangelion, which is why you want to be able to stance. So this is the other thing. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I forgot to take the thing. All right. So the threat thing would have been. Yeah, you would have had 2 points in here. So this is what it would have been before with the blade stuff. So it would have been. It would have been this. You would have gotten Deep Wound. Sorry, you would have gotten Impale. Sorry. This is the level 25 build. This is the level 25 build. Sorry, this is the level 25 build. But with this build, with Flangelion, what you're probably gonna want to go down is something like this. Get Tactical Mastery. Get this 5 points to spend. Throw into Cruelty. Throw into defense stance. This. Boom, you get this one, 25% increased physical damage for 12 seconds after activating Blood Rage, Berserker Rage. I can see this being a thing. Reality of what's going to actually happen as a tank is you're going to do this. This is reality. This is reality. You're going to do this for the extra 12% threat. You're going to take this because 2 blocks are amazing. And you're going to take this because Last Stand is amazing. You get a defensive. You get your block, and you get 12 out of 15% of your threat from here. This is most likely what standard main. This is going to be a standard main tank build. Then from here, at later levels, you're probably going to go down and get Tactical Mastery. It's probably immediately, assuming we get, let's say the next level bracket is 35, right? You're going to put a point here, boom, boom. This is going to be the level 25 bracket right here, level 35 bracket. If it's 30, we'll have to rethink, but if it's 35, this is going to be the level 35 bracket right here, because you're going to want Tactical Mastery. But regardless, though, you're probably going to go, like I said, most tanks most likely are going to run this. Knowing how my theory on how the bosses are going to be, you're probably going to run this, realistically. You get the extra threat, you get improved shield block, you get the defensive, but if it's a joke, you're going to go with some of the other builds I mentioned. And with this, you still can utilize this, which I think is what most tanks are going to utilize. Is you're mostly going to utilize this. You'll probably open up in Berserker stance, activate Berserker Rage, then go back into. I'm just thinking here, right? You'll start out the fight. You can't charge in. You have to walk in, activate Berserker Rage right off the bat, then immediately swap to defense stance. Right when Berserker Rage is up, the 12-second thing is up. You're going to activate Blood Rage again. So you can have that up. So you'll have for 24 seconds, you'll get this. But this is most likely what tanks are going to run. I'm just going to keep it real. This is what tanks are going to run. You're most likely going to go Flangellation with Devastation. And then you're either going to be running Furious Thunder or Consumed by Rage. One of those two. I'm assuming Furious Thunder because I think at this point you're going to have enough early threat building with Flangellation and then with your Sunders that it's going to be fine. Because on top of that, it's going to get its damage increased by 25% because it's physical damage. So this 150% weapon damage you're going to be doing, 100 to 150% weapon damage you're going to be spamming, you're going to be using it with an extra 20% increased damage. So it's going to be great, right? It's just going to be good. All around, this is going to be the warrior build. This is going to be warrior tank build. Going on to Fury, you're probably going to go with Raging Blow. Early on, I don't think dual-wield Fury is going to be a thing. I'm just going to kind of say it outright. Because, yes, you get single-minded Fury, which increases your damage and movement speed by 10%, but you're going to miss so fucking much at level 25 that 2H is going to be the meta for Warriors. It just is. You're going to go with Frenzied Assault. You're going to go Frenzied Assault for the extra 9% attack speed. You're going to go with Endless Rage. And then from here, you're going to go with Raging Blow. A Fury Strike that can only be activated when it deals 100% damage, but can only be used when enraged, Berserker Rage, or Blood Rage is activated. I can see that. Well, not this one. Frenzy Assault. Sorry. Flagellation. Sorry. Flagellation or Blood Frenzy. One of these two is probably what you're going to run. It just completely depends. Blood Frenzy on long fights, Flagellation on shorter fights. Flagellation, because 25% increased bonus damage is huge, especially you can have it for 24 seconds. Let's be real here. The build you'd go on as an arms warrior, let's just kind of keep real here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Actually, you'll probably want over 1, 2, then 1, 2, 3. We have some points. 1, and then this is, or you'll probably go into this one. Either this one or this one. Actually, probably this one. Crucial Strike. So this is probably what you'll run most likely, as an arms warrior. You'll get your tactical mastery. You'll get your bleed damage increase. This is if you're getting Blood Frenzy. If you're not getting Blood Frenzy, you'll probably go something like this: 5 into here, 3. Right, 3 just for the increased rend damage. Points into here. Probably get tactical mastery for shits and giggles. And then probably get your last point. You'll either put into Deep Wounds, or Improved Overpower, or Anger Management. One of these three. I feel like it's most likely going to be Deep Wounds or Anger Management. Most likely Anger Management, but that's what I'm thinking. You're still gonna have the bleed thing, but it's not gonna be as effective. So I wouldn't necessarily run Blood Frenzy. But I don't know. We'll see. I think Flagellation is gonna be most likely go to that. Fury, I just don't see it being a thing. But if you're gonna do it, you'll probably go Raging Blow with. No, you have to, because you have to get Single-Minded Fury. You're gonna get consumed by. It's like Consumed by Rage only works if you're getting. Only works if you're getting What is it called? What is it? Yeah, sorry. Consumed by Rage really only works. I spaced out. Only really works best if you're getting Raging Blow. So if you get Raging Blow, so like as a dual wield, you'd probably go actually Raging Blow with Consumed by Rage and Single-Minded Fury. That's what I'm guessing, honestly. It's hard to say, but that's what I'm guessing. Next up, let's move on from Warrior, though, because I can sit here for hours theory crafting Warriors. Let's go on. We're already up 45 minutes of a video. Let's try to go for it. Let's talk about Rogues. So Rogues have some interesting stuff that no one's really mentioning, because I guess not a lot of people are talking about it. Chest Runes. Deadly Brew. You inflict any other poison on a target. When you inflict any other poison on a target, you also inflict deadly poison. This means you basically don't need to put deadly poison on your weapons. You can put something else. So that's pretty nice. Just a flesh wound. You take 20% reduced physical damage when Blade Dance is active. Additionally, you have 6% reduced chance to be critically hit by melee attacks. The threat generated by all of your actions has massively increased, and your faint abilities replaced with T's, which taunts them. So basically, you turn into a tank. Basically, you take this and you turn into a tank, which is going to be nice. Basically, you're going to be able to do some tank stuff. So let's go. Quick Draw. Draw your ranged weapon and fire a shot on enemy, causing normal ranged weapon damage and reducing the target's movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds. Awards 1 combo point. Quick Draw benefits from all the talents and effects of the modifiers of Sinister Strike. This looks like it's going to be a kind of PvP talent, but we'll see. Last Chest Rune is Slaughter from the Shadows. Reduces the energy cost of your backstab and ambush by 20. Does not apply Mutilate. I'm guessing Dagger Roach is going to be a thing. Glove Runes. Mutilation. Instantly attacks with both weapons for 100% damage, plus an additional 20 for each weapon. So, yeah, so 140% damage. 140% weapon damage. Damage reduced by 20% against poison targets. Words company. Mutilation benefits from all talents affected by backstab, otherwise spell. I'm guessing Mutilate is going to be a go-to thing, but we'll see. We still have other stuff. Shadow Strike. Teleport on your target, 100% weapon damage, must be stealth. This is a PvP talent, most likely. Saber Slash, viciously slash an enemy, 130% weapon damage, causing target from bleed for 11 damage for 12 seconds, or 11 damage every 2 seconds for 12 seconds. Additionally, stacks with 3 times, awards 1 combo point. Saber Slash benefits from all targets. So you'd get this, and it's like a dot you maintain. That's pretty good. Shiv, instantly attack with your offhand weapon to deal normal damage with 100% chance to apply poison on the offhand. Slower weapons require more energy, blah, blah. Main Gauche, instantly strike with your offhand for a normal offhand weapon damage. Increase your chance to parry by 10%. That's a tank rune. Leg rune. So I'm going through these fast. I realized I stuck on all the ones. Also, I don't know much about rogues. Between the eyes, range finishing move. Increase attack power by attack power and stuns the target. Okay. Boom. Do damage. It's just a ranged one. Okay. Blade Dance, finishing move that increases your parry, lasts longer, granted it's just the tank one. And Venom, finishing move that inflicts poison damage. I'm guessing there's going to be a bunch of different builds. Early on, Mutilate, going to be your go-to. You're probably going to go Daggers. You're going to go Mutilate with Envenom. Envenom with Mutilate is probably going to be a thing. And then I'm guessing you'll probably go for Deadly Poisoned or Slaughter from the Shadows. I'm guessing. I think this is. It depends. If this is a cooldown, you'll do it. But if it's not a cooldown, you won't. I don't really know much about rogues, but I can see this being a thing if you're going like, I don't know. It's really difficult for me to say. I'm going to be completely honest because I don't know. Like combat rogue, you're probably going to take Saber Slash, right? You'll probably take Saber Slash for combat if you're going sword. You'll probably also take Deadly. I think default damage dealers are going to go for Deadly Brew. I don't know how the range stuff is going to work. I'm guessing. I don't actually know how the range stuff is going to work. I mean, it might be good. It might not be. It depends on how the ranged auto attacks. It's really tough for me to say because I don't know. Envenom's going to be the default DPS thing though, unless Between the Eyes is doing a lot more damage. But I don't think so. It looks like Between the Eyes is PvP. So it looks if you're going PvP, you're going to go Between the Eyes with Quick Draw. If you're going PvE, you're going to go Deadly Brew with Saber Slash or Mutilate, depending if you're daggers or swords. And then you're also going to take Envenom. Then if you're tanking, you go Blade Dance. I'm guessing, trying to see here, Blade Dance with, I don't know, whatever the fuck you want. Main Gauche, and then obviously that's my understanding of it. It's hard for me to really say because I don't really know much about rogues, but that's just my initial take on it. So it looks like they have a clear-cut build. Moving on from Rogue, though, we have the Priest runes, which is, I'm going to be real, some of them are cool, some of them are meh. A lot of it is what you'd expect, let's be real here, but let's get right into it. Strength of the Soul, Lesser Heal, Greater Heal, and Flash Heal reduce the cooldown, reduce the duration of weakened soul on targets by 4 seconds. Hey, this is a disc build. If you want to go and make your shields as strong as possible, you go and you shield the tank, then as you're healing them consistently, maybe it's a heavy damaging fight, you reduce the weakened soul, then you go and pop another shield on them and repeat. So I can see this being a thing, for a high damaging phase. This is actually really nice. Serendipity, healing with Flash Heal, reduces the cast time of your next Lesser Heal, Greater Heal, or healing by 20% for 20 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So 6% cast reduction, but you have to spam Flash Heal. So I can see it being a thing for, again, heavy damage fights. I can see both these being a thing. Void Plague, afflicts target with a disease causing shadow damage. So it's just a Twist of Fate, Mind Flay and Mind Blast increase. Mind Flay and Mind Blast, 20% increased damage of the targets inflicted with Shadow Word Pain. Okay, so this is a shadow thing. This is probably something you just take if you want to do low. Love Runes, Shadow Word Death. What do you expect? Deal damage if the target is not killed with Shadow Death. Caster takes equal. Go. Circle of Healing heals all target party members within 15 yards of the target player for some aim. That's pretty good. Penance, launch a volley causing damage to an enemy or healing an ally instantly over 1 second for 2 seconds. So just a nice little, if you haven't used Penance before, it's just a nice little quick heal. Mind Seer, causes an explosion of shattering magic at the enemy target, dealing damage for 1 second for 5 seconds to all enemy. Yay! Shadow Priests are definitely going to be a thing if they get mana help. If they get mana help, they're going to be, but we'll see. Leg Runes, Prayer of Mending. replaces a spell on a target that heals them for 15 the next time they take damage or receive healing. When the heal occurs, Preventing jumps to a party raid member within 20 yards, jumps up to 5 times, and lasts 30 seconds. After each jump, the spell can only be placed on one target at a time. So there you go. It's pretty nice. Prayer of Mending is a nice little heal thing. I can see this being taken at things, but honestly, I feel like Barrier is going to be better. But we'll go over that in a second. Homunculi. Breaks off splinters of your soul. Animate 3 copies of yourself and attempt to attack the current target with a mace, sword, and axe, reducing the attack speed, attack power, and armor, respectively, of any target they hit. This is going to be huge during as a cooldown. That's going to be awesome. Like any priest that gets that, you get a priest that uses Homunculi, that's going to be great for just having a nice little debuff on the target. So that's going to be Shared Pain. Your Shadow Word Pain also affects up to 2 additional nearby targets of 15 yards. So looks like Shadow Priest had a lot of AoE. That's kind of crazy. And then lastly is Powered Barrier. Summons a barrier to protect party and raid members for 10 seconds, reducing all damage they take by 25%, and prevents damage and from delayed spell casting. Overall, priests are what you'd expect. They're like warriors. They're not getting anything crazy like some of the other classes, but they are getting some nice stuff that's really good. For a build, I think on the leg slot, typical healers are going to go with Barrier, right? You're probably going to go with Barrier. A lot of these don't have synergy with each other, so that kind of sucks. But you're probably going to go Barrier because it's going to be a cooldown. I feel like priests are going to do this. Point in case, you pop this, it's a CD, you use it, there you go. A point in case of where you'd use it. Again, 2 phases. The last boss in raid, when the Hydrant rages, and of course during the turtle when his shell cracks. Boom. It's already good. You're probably going to want at least 1 priest with this. If you have a priest, they're probably going to be running Barrier. If you have 2 priests, they'll probably take something different. Curve Bending's good for just general trash packs. When you're just generally clearing stuff, pop Prayer of Mending and then kind of move on. Homunculi is good to have someone to take, but it's not mandatory. It's like this is for Shadow. This is the Shadow's single target ability. This is the Shadow's AoE ability, right? And this is just an extra healing option. Mindseer, AoE ability, Shadow Word Death, single target. There you go. Circle of Healing is for AoE healing. Penance is for single target healing. Again, single target AoE healing. Void Plague afflicts the target with disease, causing 116 shadow damage over 8 seconds. Mind Flay and Mind Blast to increase the target when afflicted shadow pain. I feel like you'd only take Twist of Fate, but I could be wrong. Maybe Void Plague is good. I actually have no idea. Strength of Soul, it's good. Honestly, it's good. If you're shielding people like crazy, Strength of Soul can be good. Serendipity, honestly, I think Strength of Soul is just better. I'm just going to kind of say it. I feel like Strength of Soul is better. Serendipity is nice, but it requires you to use 3 fucking flash heals. That's kind of nutty. I'm going to be honest. You're going to run out of mana so quickly. Serendipity feels like a lot. I feel like Strength of Soul would be the go-to healer thing. I mean, it feels pretty straightforward. You have a single target or AoE option, single target AoE, single target AoE, single target AoE, single target AoE. It's very straightforward for priests because you're either doing damage or healing. There's no 3rd or 4th option. So I feel like it's very standard. I don't think any of it's bad, but they don't have anything game breaking. Barrier's huge. Don't get me wrong. Barrier's amazing. Homunculi is amazing. Shadow Priest obviously is now becoming a playable class. You just ran out of mana. Shadow Priest is going to be fucking huge. So Shadow Priest is obviously going to be huge. It's going to be a nice DPS, especially later down the road if they get a mana battery. Oh my god. So that's just my thoughts. Moving on from Priest though, we're at Warlock. Something everyone has already heard about. Warlock tanking is a thing. Let's go over it. Lake of Fire for your chest rune. Rain of Fire also leaves a Lake of Fire in the ground, increasing all fire damage you deal and your demon pet deals by 40%. This is basically going to be a fire Destro Warlock thing. If you're Destro, you're probably going to use Rain of Fire. You're going to stand in it. That leaves Lake of Fire, increases all damage you deal. You're going to either stand in it or have the mob stand in it, whatever it is. And then you're going to get that little bit of damage increase. It's just going to be a cooldown you use periodically. Sorry, I've been talking for a while, so my voice is cracking. Master Channeler. Chain Life no longer is channeled and lasts 15 seconds with a 15-second cooldown. Costs 100% more mana and heals your pet for 50% more each time. Damage. So it looks like if you're going demo and you have your pet out, Chandler's gonna be nice. Like if you're pet tanking, stuff like that, it's gonna be nice. Probably more for just leveling, honestly. Soul Siphon increases the amount drained by drain life and drain soul by an additional 6% for each of your warlock effects on them to the target, increase the max of 18. So I don't know. Maybe I don't really know. It's gonna be a toss up between these two as which one you'd probably take for a DPS. Demonic Tactics increases your melee and spell critical strike chance by you and your pet by 10%. This probably gonna be default, honestly, for everybody. I just realized that, but we'll keep going. Glove Runes, Metamorphosis, what everyone is expecting. Meta Warlock is here in Classic. Holy shit, everyone happy. Transform into a demon, increasing armor by 50%, increasing the chance reducing the chance to be critically struck by 6%, increasing your threat by 100, increasing mana gained from life tap by 100%, transforming the functionality of some of your abilities into new abilities. During pain, now instant. Boom, it's a nice little threat cooldown. Shadow Bolt now becomes Shadow Cleave, a shadow melee attack that hits the 3 nearby enemies, but is a 6-second cooldown. Curse of Recklessness, now a taunt. Also, your target attacks you for 3 seconds, but it has a 10-second cooldown and must be in melee range. So it's a taunt. Demon Charge. Charge an enemy, stun them for 1 second, cannot be used in combat. Demonic Howl forces all enemies nearby to attack you for 6 seconds. You become a tank. It's just a tank build. It's gonna be good. I can see Warlock tanks being a thing. We'll talk more about it later, but we'll do. Shadow Bolt Volley. Your Shadow Bolt now strikes up to 5 targets with a chain distance of 10 yards, but for 20 reduced damage. Chaos Bolt, go Chaos Bolt. Sudden Chaos Bolt, okay, chaotic fire on enemy, dealing damage. Again, this is where the fire comes in. Hell yeah, it always hits. It always hits. Cannot be resisted. And its knowledge causes all your fire spells to pierce through. Fucking amazing. Gotta love me some Chaos Bolt. Oh my god, that makes me want to play Warlock for that alone. Haunt unleashes a ghouly soul on an enemy, dealing 108 to 120 damage, increasing all damage over time you deal by 20%. When the haunt ends or is dispelled, you'll be healed for all the damage it dealt to your target. That's pretty cool. That's a glove saw. I mean, you can't take haunt and metamorphosis for sense. Leg, Everlasting Affliction, Drain Soul, Drain Life, Shadow Bolt, Shadow Cleave, Searing Pain, Incinerate, Haunt, and Haunt. Refresh the duration of your corruption on the target. Seems like a default thing. Incineration. Boom, you get Incinerate. Boom, here you go. Fire Warlock is now a thing. So you get a Fire Warlock thing, which is going to be nice. Demonic Grace. Surge with Fell Energy, increasing your pet and your own dodge range by 30%. So it's a defensive cooldown. Demonic Pack. Your pet's critical strikes apply Demonic Pack effect to your party members for 45 seconds. Demonic Pack. Oh my god. Oh my god. Warlock. So you're probably going to want a Warlock for... This is tough. So Warlocks are going to be probably pretty big. You have, depending on the damage, but it looks like Fire Warlock is going to be huge. Chaos Bolt's always going to hit, so you're going to probably pull threat like crazy. So that's going to be a thing. It'll also looks like just getting a general like Affliction / regular demo lock is going to be nice because you have Demonic Pack is going to be great for healers. Let's be real here. Yeah, Demonic Pack is going to be nice. You get Demonic Pack. You then get, I would probably say Shadow Bolt Volley or Chaos Bolt, depending if you want single target. And then lastly, you'll get Demonic Tactic. So I can see if you're fire, you're going to go Lake of Fire. You're going to go Chaos Bolts or Shadow Bolt Volley for a. Most likely, I should probably just go Chaos. Or maybe you'll probably swap. And then lastly, you'd go Incinerate for fire. So yeah, I can see there's going to be so Shadow Warlock gets Demonic Pact, probably not as much damage, but you get the buff, which is going to be huge. Fire Warlock probably going to do more damage, but you don't provide a buff. And then there's the tank build. Kind of nice, honestly. I really like that. That's a really, really nice little, nice little just kind of just general synopsis for Warlock. You have a Fire Warlock, which is nice. You get Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire buff, etc. You get Meta Warlock, which gives you tanking, which is a nice new ability, which looks pretty fun. So it's gonna be nice. The gearing is gonna be interesting though, honestly, for Warlock. Gonna be very interesting. I know they have the Kloss tank chest piece, so gonna be interesting. Moving from Warlock, we now have Hunters. This is interesting. I actually find this really interesting. As someone who played Hunter excessively and trained and taught two of my friends to become legendary parsers, and one of them a pink parser and vanilla classic hunter. I know a tiny bit about hunters. I'm garbage at it myself, but I know the theory behind it. Let's go and talk about it. So chest rune, you have a Cobra Strikes. Your critical hits with shot abilities cause your pet's next two special attacks to critical hit. Exposed weakness, your ranged critical strike criticals increase your attack power 40% of your current agility by 7 seconds. Nice. Lone Wolf, 20% increased damage when you don't have a pet out. Master Marksman increases your range critical strike by 5% and reduces the mana cost of all shots by 25%. We'll go over more hunters in a minute. Love Runes, Beastmaster, your pet has increased health by 30% and it's focused by an additional 80%. In addition, your pet growl is now a taunt. Basically turns your pet into an active tank. Buy more for dungeons. Carve, a sweep attack that deals strikes to all enemies in front of you for 50%. That's a melee ability. Chimera Shot, 25%, 125% weapon damage, refreshing your current sting and triggering an effect. Serpent Sting, instantly 40% of the damage done by Serpent Sting. Viper Sting, instantly restores 60% of your mana. Okay. And Scorpion Sting, attempts to drain the target, disarm the target for 10 seconds. So that's PvP. If you need mana, damage dealing. You're pretty nice. Explosive Shot, fires an explosive charge on enemy, dealing fire damage. The target will blast the target every second for 2 seconds. Shared cooldown of 13. You basically use in replacement of range shot. Leg, Flanking Strike. You and your pet simultaneously, instantly, deal simultaneous 100% melee damage. Afterwards, your Mongoose Bite, Raptor Strike deal 10% damage for 10 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Raptor Strike has a 20% chance, 20% chance to reset the cooldown of Flanking Strike. Kill Command. Give the command your pet attack, pet's damage attack from special attacks by 6% for 30 seconds. Each special attack done, the pet reduces. Serpent Spread. Targets hit by your multi-shot are also affected by Serpent Sting. Sniper Training. Your shot gains 30% increased critical strike chance while you have not moved seconds. So going over this, melee hunter's a thing. I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's the thing. You're most likely going to take Lone Wolf, so you get the 25% increased damage. Most likely. I'm not saying for sure. I'm thinking you'll probably take Lone Wolf with Carve and Flanking Strike. But the problem is Flanking Strike wants you to have a pet. So you'd get Flanking Strike and Carve, and then what? You'd get... And this is kind of the issue with melee. It's like, what do you get? Increase your critical strike chance by 5%. I mean, I guess you'd get this Master Marksman, but then you lose. But then, like, this second part is stupid for you because it doesn't do anything. You basically just get increased 5% crit. I say only increased 5% crit, but it's like, do I want 5% increased crit or 25% more damage? It's really tough. It really depends on how much of your damage your pet's dealing. If your pet's dealing more than 25% of your damage, you're probably going to want to go Master Marksman. If your pet does less than 25% of your damage, then you're going to want to go with Lone Wolf. It's really what it depends with melee hunt. Range Hunter looks like you have a couple of different ones. Cobra Strike is for going Beast Mastery. Looks like Beast Mastery is going to be more like open world / potential pet tanking stuff. You're going to go Beast Mastery as well, increases its health, or increase the health in addition to your pet's growl. That's if you're doing overworld stuff. Doing in-world stuff, you'll probably get Chimera Shot, honestly. I feel like Chimera Shot's going to be good. Assuming you don't need to worry about debuff limit. Serpent Sting damage is going to be great. Viper Sting gives you mana. 2 things you're going to have to worry about with all the shot spamming. So you're going to get Chimera Shot. Definitely, you're probably going to run Chimera Shot. I think Explosive Shot would only be if you are running something, a specific build. I could see Explosive Shot working, but you'd have to go to a specific build. Then, with range, you're probably also going to get Sniper Training or Serpent Sting. If you are Beast Mastery, you're going to go Kill Command. Standard stuff. Sniper Training is probably going to be better. First thing is Sniper Training is going to be your single target / boss ability. Serpent Spread is going to be your AoE ability. Pretty standard stuff on range side. The biggest thing is going to be Explosive Shot. I'm guessing Explosive Shot is going to be AoE. Chimera Shot's probably going to be single target is my guess. Beast Mastery is for Beast Mastery stuff. Master Marksman is probably what you'll take by default. Additionally, I mean, I can see Exposed Weakness being great. Honestly, I think it really just depends on what your agility is, right? There's going to be a math thing, but I think Master Marksman with Chimera, I don't know. Maybe like Master Marksman with Explosive Shot would be better, would be a build, and then Chimera Shot with Exposed weakness would be a build. It's gonna have to actually like put it in practice, you know what I mean, to really find out. But it is nice. I think a lot of these are gonna come up to. I'll talk about it later. But I think Hunter looks good. It looks a lot of Hunter doesn't feel super exciting, but it's nice because it's general just damage. Sorry, it's just like general extra damage, which is what Hunters need, right? And at these lower levels, Hunters are gonna be king. So I feel like Hunter's gonna be a really solid class at these lower levels, honestly. So yeah. Moving on from Hunter, we have Druid. Oh my god. All right, thank God. An ad started playing, but I had my sound muted on OBS. Fell off guard. But oh my god, Druid. Boy, am I excited for Druid. Druid is hands down going to be a mandatory class on Alliance side and honestly Horde side at the lower levels. 100%. No arguments, no contest. It's going to be a mandatory class. Cat Druid specifically. Let's go over it and you'll see why. Furious Stormrage reduces the mana cost of Wrath by 100% each time you deal damage. With Wrath, you have a 12% chance for your next cast of Healing Touch within 12% chance for your next cast of Healing Touch within 15 seconds instant. Oh, that's nice. So it's a nice little like Boomkin buff, I guess. Wild Strikes. While you're in cat form, bear form, or dire bear form, primarily the cat form part here, party members within 20 yards get increased combat ferocity. Each melee hit has a 20% chance of granting the attacker an extra attack with 20% additional attack power. No effect if the party member is already benefiting from Wind Fury Totem. Alliance side is going to want one cat druid for every fucking raid. Oh my god, like if you're going like I already know what group comp I want to run with this and I'm going to talk about it. Hold on, give me 1 second. Come down here. So to kind of talk about why, what I'm thinking for group comp is if you're going melee, like a more melee focused, like if you're going like, I would say Wind Fury, you go with Warrior main tank, most likely, because they affect from Wind Fury, Cat Druid with Wind Fury, Rogue Warrior or Ret DPS, Rogue Warrior Ret DPS, Mage Healer or Rogue Warrior Ret DPS, and you just have like all these melees getting all this Wind Fury, right? Group 2, you'd have typical caster, hunter, paladin tanking, right? And so this can be really great. Additionally, you get Survival of the Fittest. Reduce the chance to be critically hit by melee attacks by 6% and reduces all damage taken by 10%. Damage taken reduced by an additional 10% while in bear form or dire bear form. So bears are going to be really good, but the problem is they have no shield block. So if you're going, I'm going to be real here. Bears are going to be a good main tank, but they can't get wild strikes. That is the issue. And that's kind of something a lot of people are glossing over because again, the final boss is gonna enrage and hit like a truck. So you need to be able to not only not get crit, have the lower chance of getting crit, but you also have like decent damage reduction, stuff like that. So you can't go wild strikes and be the main tank. Off tank cat, I can see. But survival of the fittest, honestly, is good. It is very good. But but that's the only way you're gonna be main tank. Is with that. Not only, but that's going to be how you're going to be main tank as a druid. But the problem with taking this is then you lose out on giving your group Wind Fury by being a main tank, right? So you have to fucking choose. And it's kind of that awkward thing. Now, I know the obvious thing of, oh, just swapping it depending on the fight. But it's like the fights where the bosses hit hard, you're going to want to have Survival of the Fittest and you're going to want to have Wild Strikes anyway. So why would you purposely get rid of Wind Fury to all your melee DPS so this way you can be main tank? You're better off being an off tank as a druid or cat form if you want to give Wild Strikes. Now obviously, if you're tanking, like main tanking, then you can do that. So there is that. You just have to keep that in mind. Living Seed, when you critically heal with any healing spell, A living plant seed on a target for 30% of the amount healed. The living seed will bloom when the target is attacked next. So basically just Earth Shield, which is nice. Wild Growth heals all friendly party members within 15 yards of the target, 15 seconds or 7 seconds. The amount healed is applied quickly at first, as shown with Wild Growth regeneration. Mangle the target for 160% of the damage caused, 3% additional bleed damage of the fact, its ability, benefit, trigger. Lacerate to target, making them bleed for 40 damage over 50 seconds, plus 20% weapon damage per existing application of laceration on the target, causes high amount of threat, it stacks up to 5 times. Basically, it's a Sunder, but for bears. Sunfire, burn the enemy for 55 to 65 nature damage, and then additional 110 nature damage over seconds. In addition, while in bear form, cat form, or moonkin form, your Sunfire is replaced with Sunfire Bear, blah, blah. Leg Rune, Skull Bash, charge the target. Boom, interrupting spellcasting ring for school. Life Bloom, heal over time. Fucking amazing rest of healing. Savage Roar, finishing move that increases physical damage done by 30%, while in cat form, lasts longer per combo point, 1 point. It's just AoE. Star Surge is more arcane stuff. So it looks like it's very standard, kind of typical. You get what you run, right? Going tank. So I'm seeing different tank modes. So if you're going cat, you're going to go Wild Strikes. I can't really, if you're going cat or off tank, you're going Wild Strikes with Mangle and Savage Roar. If you are a tank, you're going to go most likely Savage Roar as well. Unless you need the interrupt, then you can go with Skull Bash. Then you're going to go with Laceration. And then you're going to go with Survival of the Fittest if you're a tank. If you're healer, you're going to go with Living Seed, Wild Growth, and Life Bloom. Fucking Druid healers are going to be amazing. I'm just going to call it. Druid healers are going to be top tier. Life Bloom is fucking amazing. I love that shit. It's great. If you're Boomkin, you're going to go Star Surge. You're going to go Sunfire. Sorry, you're going to go Sunfire, and you're going to go with Fury Stormrage. And also, your Wrath is now cost no mana as a Boomkin. So, fucking Boomkins are going to be fucking strong. Let's be real here. And here's my thought. And I know there's probably going to be a mixed build, but I'm genuinely serious here. I think bears are going to be good main tanks, but the main problem is they don't have a shield block. I'm being serious here. And I don't think there's going to be enough gear to make druids good. And that's the other thing. Okay. And so that's kind of my take, right? So I feel like tanking as a druid, the problem is tanking as a druid, you have to choose between Survival of the Fittest or Wild Strikes. And at level 25, like, let's pull up the talent tree for this just to kind of show you guys. So we're level 25 here. So as a druid, you're gonna go Ferocity, right? You're gonna go this one to get your increased armor. Actually, no, you're gonna go this one for increased threat, and then you have 19 points here. So you have to choose what you're gonna do. So you'll probably go with, it gets cat form. You'll probably go with, I don't know, I'm guessing like points into here, and then probably throw some points into here. Then you have 1 point to spend, so you're gonna go into one of these things like Blood Frenzy or Primal Fury. I don't actually fucking know. You'll go into like something like this, probably maybe like Predatory Strikes. Your melee attack power by 50% of your levels, like probably something like this. Honestly, it's probably what you'll do. It's what I'm guessing, right? This is probably what you'll do. Is my guess. You get the 4% extra armor. You'll get the extra threat increase. This is probably what you'll do as a bear. Cat, you'll obviously focus more on damage. So cat, you'll go with this. You'll probably go with oh, actually no, probably just go with. Oh, never mind. And then you're gonna go 3 points. Then you're probably gonna go with your last points. Probably gonna go either this or this, one of these two. again, or maybe even in Shred. Like honestly, one of these three. I don't actually know. They'll probably do something like that for Cat. Like honestly, I just don't see Druids going, and like I just feel like there's not enough talents to make Druid strong. Like would a Bear Druid, what they would need, honestly, is probably that they need this, they need all the points in this, they need all the points in this. They're gonna want trying to think here. And they're going to want all of those things. And then they're still going to want to have their threat abilities. I mean, they're still going to want sharpened claws, but they're also going to want the predator. Like this is like what you'd want to get, but then it's like you don't have enough talent points to get anything else. So early on, I think bears are going to be strong, but I don't think they're going to be as like their kit just doesn't feel complete to me, right? They're going to want to get leader of the pack. They're going to want to get, Heart of the Wild. They're going to want to go and unlock like their dire bear form, stuff like that. Like I just really don't think that druids are going to be like, I think they're going to be good and I think they're going to be solid, but I don't think a druid is going to be able to get wild strikes over survival of the fittest. It's like either like you're going wild strikes and DPSing, or you're going survival of the fittest and going tank. That's my opinion. And I could be wrong, but that's just how I feel about it. I think druids are great. I think they're going to be amazing tanks. Honestly, I think every tank is amazing. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, I think each one of them is amazing in their own right. And I think they all, I don't want to say are close to each other, but they're all very good. And I know it's probably just me being a classic Andy, but I genuinely do feel like Warrior is going to stay the main tank just because of the fact they have the cleanest tank kit already established. Like Warlocks are going to be great, but they have no shield block. Druids are going to be great, but they have no shield block. Paladins have a shield block and they have the full kit, but they don't have any real defensive capability, right? Outside of blocking. So a warrior gets their 10% damage reduction passively all across the board, and you can get Last Stand. And that's my point. And you can get the threat increase with the enraging. So like there you go. Hold on one sec. Sorry, I was talking to my brother about something. We were just talking about what we think certain classes are, and I was just typing because he left a long message. I just respond a long message response, but it's mostly just about tank theory crafting. And yeah, so I think I covered everything with Druid. I mean, honestly, it's good, very good. I can see, to kind of reiterate everything I'm saying, Boomkin's going to be solid. Druid healers are going to be amazing. I can see Cat Druids becoming a mandatory class on Alliance side, one of them because of Wind Fury. And from what I've seen since we've discovered all of the tanks, I just want to say, I think the tanks are going to 100% be depending on what you want, right? It depends on what your group run. If you're going a caster run, you are going to go Paladin Warlock. If you're going a physical / melee focus group, you're going to go Druid Warrior, right? I feel like that's more kind of what the top end synergy is going to be. But I also think you can mix and match whatever you want. Like Warrior Warlock will work fine. Warrior Paladin will work fine. Druid Warlock would potentially work fine. You just have no shield block. I just think typically you're going to want at least one shield tank because of shield block, because of just blocking in general. But honestly, I think you can mix and match the tanks as you feel freely. I don't think one tank is going to be superior than the others by a giant margin. I do think, probably because I'm a Warrior Andy, I think Warriors are probably going to be better because they don't need any buffs to their tanking capabilities. To kind of iterate what I told my brother about Warriors, Warriors don't really need a tank increase buff because they already have everything passive. They just need their damage and threat increase to keep up with everybody else's. So that's what you get. Flagellation, 25% bonus physical damage for 12 seconds after using Blood Rage or Berserker Rage. Open up in Berserker stance, use Berserker Rage, swap to defensive stance for 12 seconds, then use Blood Rage for another 12 seconds. So that's 24 seconds of the fight right off the bat that you have a 25% bonus physical damage. That is a large portion of the fight. You're going to have a 25% bonus physical damage buff. That is huge. Gloves, you're going to get Devastate. Sunder does 100% weapon damage if you have a shield on. Increased by 10% per application as Sunder. This is increased further by the 25% from Flagellation. So for 24 seconds of the initial start of the fight, well, you have Blood Rage passive. passive going. Like you've used your rage pot. That Sunder spamming you're doing, because it's your only real ability, you're going to be doing a lot of threat. You're going to be having a lot of snap threat if you use Blood Rage, if you use a rage pot right at the beginning, because we'll have those at the beginning, and you just dump that threat of Sunder going wham, 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 wham. You're going to generate so much initial threat in those first 24 seconds and so much damage as well. You're going to be top of the leaderboards, then you're going to fall down. You're going to be a burst class. Legs, you're going to take Furious Thunder. This just gives you an AoE tanking capability, or you can go and take the Consumed by Rage ability, combining with Blood Rage and Furious Flagellation. You get an extra 25% more bonus damage on the boss, but the problem is you lose Furious Thunder, so it's like, if you have another tank, you'll probably go and just run Blood Rage, or not Blood, you'll probably run Consumed by Rage, but if you don't have another tank or another warrior, you'll probably run Furious Thunder. That's just my take. And I do think that warriors be better, because just their talents, passively, you get 5% passive, you get a passive 5% extra block chance that only paladins can get, that paladins also get, right? But you get the 5% extra block chance, so you have the ability to block. Warriors and paladins are the only ones that can block with a shield. Last Stand, which is a buff that no one else has a tank buff as good. Like, as a druid, hold on, let me go pull up the druid. Like, I think warlocks have a tank buff, but they don't have a shield. Paladins can get a tank cooldown. Druids, I don't think, get a tank cooldown yet. I don't think druids get a tank cooldown yet. So really, like, the only tanks with the cooldown are paladins if they spec into it. If they get the rune for it, which means they're going to lose out on like their mana buff or Divine Storm, so they'd have to spec into it. Warlocks, just because they get one passively, and warriors. And warriors, in my opinion, is kind of the best. A flat 30% HP at level 25, I feel like is going to be way better than some like 30% armor and stuff like that you could get. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I feel like Last Stand's pretty big. It's pretty good. Shield block also blocks 2 attacks. Pallies don't get Holy Shield until level 40. Warriors get this right off the bat. That's something a lot of people have to consider. And their threat increases by 50% while in defensive stance, making you go from 130% increased threat to 130% threat to 145. That's already way better than any of the other tanks. My honest opinion is I think warriors are still going to stay the best tank, but I think the other tanks are going to be so good in their other values that it's really hard to say which one's the best tank. I think warriors are going to be the best main boss progression tank. They always are. Druids are going to be the best threat tank. Paladins and warlocks are going to be the best AoE tank, and warlocks are just going to be a nice little kind of whatever tank. Rogues are just going to be a tank that you take just because they're a fucking tank, right? I don't think rogues are going to be bad. I just don't think they're going to be good. I don't think they're going to compete with the others, but I think warlock and rogue tanks are going to be like, they're going to be there, they're going to be solid, but they're not going to be crazy. Rogues are honestly the only other tank I could actually see with their defensives, because they get evasiveness. Actually, now I think about it, rogues would be good because of evasiveness and stuff like that, but I don't like the combo point playstyle. But I think rogues could be potentially really good at endgame. I think they could be good later down the road. Early on, probably maybe as well, but the dual wield bullshit, the dual wield and no block, again, ruins them. That's just my opinion on tanks. We will see as later goes on. I could very well be wrong. I'm willing to admit I could easily be wrong. Honestly, I could very easily be wrong about tanks. I could be. I'm just going off of what I think. And I definitely am willing to admit I am biased. I am biased because I love warriors and I played them for so long. But I'm not scared to admit when another tank's better. Like in Wrath, in TBC, well, Wrath, yes. But in TBC, I played a paladin because it was so much better in Karazhan, and it was so much more fun. And I swapped my warrior when we got to SSC just because I like warrior more. I like warrior, but paladin's super fun, and I'm willing to admit it's better. So that's just my take on it. Anyways, enough about talking about tanks. Let's move on to mage. The last one, the one that a lot of people are probably curious about. The new, probably go-to healer to have in every party. Just my opinion. Runes. Regeneration heals the target for 485 health over 3 seconds and applies Temporal Beacon for 30 seconds. Records the subject's space-time position. 100% of all arcane damage done by the caster will be converted to chromatic healing and divided amongst the caster's current temporal. Basically, use regeneration, and then you go and you use regeneration to like kind of go and apply it on various targets. Then you just go do atonement healing. You go do arcane damage, which just heals the target. Fingers of Frost gives your chill effects a 15% chance to fire Fingers of Frost, which treats your next 2 spell casts as if the target were frozen, last 15 seconds. This is going to be tough when a lot of stuff is going to probably have high frost resistance in the first raid, so that's going to be interesting. Burnout increases your spell critical strike chance by 15%, but your non-periodic spell critical strikes now have an additional 1% base mana. Cost an additional 1% base mana. This is actually pretty nice. Enlightenment. You deal 10% more damage when you have more than 70% mana. Below 70 to 30% mana, 10% of your mana generation continues while casting. Honestly, these are both really good. Gloves. Rewind time. Your current target with your temporal beacon instantly heals all damage taken over the last 5 seconds. Ineffective on the targets that have not. So basically just a healing cooldown. Ice Lance. It just deals triple damage if they're frozen. Arcane Blast deals damage to AoE, target, so you can go Arcane. Living Bomb, target makes the target a bomb. After 12 seconds, they go boom and deals to all enemies. Yards, fucking fire, gonna go burr. Let's be real here. Getting a bunch of Living Flame summons a Spellfire Flame that moves towards the target. Trail Sphere, blah, blah. That's actually really good. Master Generation heals all targets. And yeah, this is what you do. So you'd Master Generation and get everyone Atonement right off the bat. Yeah, so that's pretty good. An Arcane Surge, unleashing all of your remaining mana surge, focus into a bunch of mana. 3% of your base mana remain. Increased up to 3% base mana afterward. Your normal generation continues. Oh, that's pretty good. Icy Veins, you get Icy. Overall, Mage looks really good. They're making Frost good, probably more for the future. Fires can be really good right off the bat. Arcane looks like it could be really good as well. And then, of course, you're going to have the Atonement healing Chronomancer Mage. So it's going to be really nice. Overall, Mage Healer, I can 100% see being a thing. It's basically just a damage dealing healer, which is going to be great. 100%, but Vergoop's probably going to run one of those, and then you'll probably have like a Druid healer. You're probably, what's most likely going to happen, you're either going to have an Atonement Mage or a Druid healer. Like, I'm going like pure meta slave, right? You'll probably go either Atonement Mage or Druid healer, one of the two. You're probably not necessarily going to stack both. And then from there, you'll go either Pally healer or Priest healer, unless you're, of course, on Horde side, in which case it'll be Pally healer, or it'll be Priest healer or Shaman healer, right? That's my opinion on it. Who knows? I think most likely Priests are going to be the go-to healer. Paladins, I feel like, are going to take a backseat because of how good Priests and the other healers are going to be. So I feel like Paladins might take a backseat until we get to like the later raids, but we'll see. I'm not going to say no to a Pally healer because they're still good, they're still amazing, but I think the other healers are going to be a lot more new, shiny, and fancy. Overall, I like it. I'm going to be honest. The runes are nice. As someone who plays a tank, I'm actually really interested in the tank meta, and I'm probably going to roll a bunch of tank ults. I'll be completely honest. I'll probably roll a bunch, but I am super excited to play Warrior. Looks like there's going to be a bunch of CDs. Overall, I like it. I'm going to cut this video here now, and I'm going to kind of edit it a tiny bit and upload it. Catch you guys in the next video.